Vince McMahon settles a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with Rita Chatterton. Plus, AEW were banned from hosting a Jay Briscoe tribute show and are a WWE Hall of Fame team reuniting. It's all in the wrestling news right now. A long overdue resolution here between Vince McMahon and former WWF referee Rita Chatterton. This is a story that spans multiple decades across the history of the company and wrestling in general, and we have some resolution today, don't we, Andrew?
We do, yes. So this is from the Wall Street Journal, and they say Vince McMahon has agreed to a multi-million-dollar legal settlement with a former wrestling referee who accused him of a serious indecent assault in 1986, according to people familiar with the agreement. Mr. McMahon's settlement with Rita Chatterton, completed last month, averts a public legal fight over her allegations as Mr. McMahon pursues a possible sale of the company. Now, Miss Chatterton, the first female referee of what was then known as the World Wrestling Federation, demanded $11.75 million in damages in a November letter to Mr. McMahon's attorney, viewed by the Wall Street Journal. Miss Chatterton agreed to a lesser amount in the millions of dollars, one of the people familiar with the matter said, but the Journal couldn't determine the exact figure.
Now, Jerry McDivitt is the lawyer for WWE. He says Mr. McMahon denies and always has denied the charges from Miss Chatterton, and he settled the case solely to avoid the cost of litigation. Now, Miss Chatterton referred the Journal to her lawyer, John Clune, who has declined to comment, and WWE has not responded to requests to comment either. Now, this is something that has been a part of wrestling history for a long time. Rita Chatterton's story has been told on multiple platforms, on chat shows across the decades as well. And I think that the sale of the company has prompted some action to be taken. It almost feels like it's something that's been ignored and sort of brushed under the carpet for a long time, and you can't do that anymore.
No.
When the opportunity came up for cases that had expired to be revisited, that's when the lawyers of Rita Chatterton stepped in, and it was back in November that we started hearing rumours and rumblings that there was legal action pending, and this is where it takes us. This follows as well a $7.5 million settlement between Mr. McMahon and a performer in 2018 had similar allegations. It also follows a $3 million payout to a former WWE employee for whom Vince McMahon had an affair with. So this has been, over the last 5-6 months, it's been a tangled web of figuring out what went on with Mr. McMahon and numerous allegations and how it ties into WWE, because this was so entrenched within WWE's books that they had to resubmit several years of filings and reports because of the nature of the amount of money that was paid out to the people involved in this. Mr. McMahon has declined publicly to address any of these settlements, and this also comes at the same time as legal fights coming up against him for taking control of the board once again.
Yeah.
So this is a very sticky time for Mr. McMahon, and a very crucial time as well, as he's looking to sell the company at the same time as all of this. I am glad that the Rita Chatterton story is out and in the world.
Yes.
And a resolution has been reached with the parties as well.
Yeah.
A
Without a
suitable
doubt.
one as well. It's been a really rough week for wrestling in general. We've talked about the tragic passing of Jay Briscoe, who on Tuesday night was involved in a fatal car accident, taking his life. Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer talked about the lack of there was acknowledgement, but certainly a lack of acknowledgement compared to what we were expecting from Dynamite.
Yeah, definitely. So, yes, as you said, Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer said there was a graphic at the start of the show on Dynamite, and at the very end of the show, there was a mention by Excalibur. A lot of the guys had armbands on, a lot of them, but there was not any kind of big tribute because they were not allowed by Warner Media to do one. So Warner Brothers Discovery didn't allow them to do one. I think previously we've heard that Warner Brothers Media wouldn't allow the Briscoes to be on TV due to the homophobic comments and tweets that Jay made about 9-10 years ago at this point. However, Jay very much went out of his way to sort of rectify that and learn from the mistakes and everything as well. We had wrestlers, I think, like Max the Impaler and Effie really come out and say nothing but really kind and lovely words about Jay in terms of him, when he was backstage, he always wanted to push for those wrestlers. He wanted them to go further. And I think if those people can open up their hearts to Jay in the comments that he's made, I think that really shows that there has been a change within Jay, and he's tried to better himself and tried to learn from his mistake.
There's a lot of love from the LGBTQ community following the passing of Jay Briscoe. Josh Wharton is a family friend who has updated people on the status of Jay Briscoe's daughters, Gracie and Jaylee, who were also in the car during the accident. Gracie's undergone emergency surgery in order to relieve compression on her spinal cord, but is still unable to feel anything from the knees down. Jaylee will spend the next 6 weeks in a neck brace and then the next 12 in a back brace. She also suffered internal bleeding, which she received emergency surgery in order to repair a perforated bowel for as well. Ashley Pugh is their mother and the wife of Jay Briscoe. She reported this to family friend Josh Wharton and gave nothing but thanks for all the kind words and the support from across the wrestling landscape and beyond there as well. This is a devastating time where a family has been ripped to pieces and nothing will ever bring that back. But one thing that is happening right now is there is a fundraiser that is taking place in order to raise money to make the costs of this long journey ahead just a little bit easier for the family. Now, if you are in a position to donate, or even if you just want to share this fundraiser, givesendgo.com/Pew Love. There's more details about it there. And once again, as we've been saying all week long, condolences and nothing but love to the family and friends of the late, great Jay Briscoe. We'll end on, it's always weird to jump into this, but let's end on some other wrestling news and let's talk about a possible comeback for a Hall of Fame tag team.
Yeah, so yesterday, Devon Dudley tweeted, WWE and I have decided to part ways and feel this is the best decision for all parties. It's been a pleasure and an honor to work with the young talent as well as everyone over in NXT, as well as working with some of the best producers in the world too. Would like to thank Vince, Paul, Stephanie, and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for the opportunity that was given. I'm very excited to see where God brings me next. Oh my brother. Testify.
In block capitals, so he really means it. It's been an interesting couple of months for Devon Dudley's part of WWE. He was down to, he's been working, as I say, as a coach in NXT, but he was down to do like an ECW tribute show for Battleground Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
He kind of said he'd do it, and then WWE caught wind of it and went, no, you're not.
Yes. Yeah.
It went to Triple H, who said, look, if you do that show, then we're going to fire you. So he ended up not doing the show. So whether or not this is connected to that, I think is not there for speculation, but it does seem the timing of it's interesting since that situation backstage with them.
Yeah.
Now
I think there was some things came out. I think it was reported that maybe Triple H was like, we don't want you to get hurt at the show, and that was a reason why they didn't let him be there as part of other things, obviously, as well. And I think Battleground Championship Wrestling put out a statement as well that was trying to sort of cover things over as well, be like, oh well, we thought it was one thing, so we may have made some comments in the past, but they tried to rectify it, I think, to sort of keep a good relationship between the two parties of WWE and Battleground Championship Wrestling if they do sort of go on to use more ECW legends. Obviously, WWE owns the property of ECW, so things are a little bit in the air of whether you can do this or whether you can't do this. But yes, it does. The timing of this is yeah, I think interesting indeed. Yeah.
So what is next for Devon Dudley? Well, a possible reuniting with his half brother from another mother, the same mother, if the Dudley lineage is to be believed. Bully Ray quote retweeting Devon's announcement with the eyeball emoji and the thinking emoji. Bully Ray, currently part of Impact Wrestling, doing a run of form there in a feud with Josh Alexander and others. Possibly bringing the band back together. Now, we know that Devon Dudley has had surgery, so he's not in a position to compete, at least to the level that he would before. Yeah. But that's not to say that we don't see the Dudleys in a capacity get back together and hang out together and turn up at shows together.
Exactly. I mean, what's to stop Devon just from even just getting a table out from under the ring?
That was always his job.
Like that. Yep, that's it.
Get get the table. I believe he can still get a table.
Remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen. So look out possibly for the Dudley Boyz or Team 3D or however they choose to call themselves on the indie circuit in 2023. I have a feeling in my waters that will happen. The one thing that we want to take away from this, of course, is the fundraiser for Jay Briscoe, for Jamin Pugh and the family and friends that he's left behind. There is a fundraiser set up to help support the family during what is going to be a really, really long journey ahead. It's givesendgo.com/Pugh Love. And hug your family a little tighter today and across the weekend as well. Stay safe.
Love you, bye.